All right, here are the directions for the Unit 2 summative. So you are all going to get this template with the slideshow on it of what you need to do. The first step you actually need to do is pick out what pharaoh you want to research. So that's where you're going to go to the big list of Egyptian pharaohs. Now on this big list, there's a lot of different pharaohs on here. The only two that you cannot do would be Amenhotep IV, aka Akhenaten, and Tutankhamun, because I already talked about them in one of my Edpuzzle videos. But all the other ones you can certainly do. I will just give you this warning right now. Make sure your pharaoh has enough information on it. Okay? I know like some people last year did some of these like first few pharaohs and there's nothing about them. So please do like a little bit of research to make sure you have enough information on them to answer all the questions that you need to answer. Because if you give me an answer to a question and say something like, "Oh, there wasn't anything information about this," then you needed to choose a different pharaoh. You need a pharaoh with enough information. Also, another good tip is that there may be more than one way to spell an Egyptian name. So I might have it spelt one way here, like Britannica might have it spelt a different way. Yeah, so just FYI on that. Okay, let's get to the slideshow. All right, so on the slideshow here, you're like, well, where's the questions? Where's the directions? You have to look at the speaker notes. That's where I put all of the questions that you need to answer. So for the first slide, you're just going to put the name of your pharaoh and then put your name. For the second slide, you're going to include all of the following. You're going to include a picture of art or statue of the pharaoh. What years did he or she rule? What dynasty was he or she from? Who was the pharaoh before him or her? Who was the pharaoh after him or her? And was he or she married to who? Were there any spouses? Did they have any kids? So that's for slide number 2. Slide number 3, you're going to answer the following question. What was foreign relations like between your pharaoh and other countries, kingdoms, or cities? I kind of gave a few really important like regions that might help you if you're kind of getting stuck on this question. So look for things like Nubia, Kush, Israel, Lebanon, Assyria, Babylonia, Levant, Anatolia, Byblos, Hittites, Palestine, Jericho, Syria, Libya, Sumer, Cyprus. Those are all kind of keywords you can look for that will probably lead you to an answer about what foreign relations were like. Then after you answer that question, you're just going to choose one of these to answer as well. So were there any wars? Were there any political marriages? Were there invasions or annexations? And what kind of trade was done among these places? All right, so for slide number 4, you're going to answer 2 of the following questions. So what kind of monuments were built for this pharaoh? Were there obelisks? Were there pyramids, temples, anything of the sort? Where was this pharaoh buried or believed to be buried? Are there any inscriptions, poems, letters, or other written work about this pharaoh? And then for slide number 5, you're going to place 3 or more examples of artwork of your pharaoh. So examples could be things like statues, jewelry, reliefs. Reliefs are etchings and paintings made on the wall. So they're like carved into the walls. Make sure that you put captions of where you found these pictures off the internet with a small description of the artwork. So don't just slap pictures in here. Put a little text box below describing like what am I looking at and where did you get it from. And then answer 2 of the following questions on slide number 6. So how is this pharaoh known today? So what museums have the pharaoh's artwork, monuments, or inscriptions? Can you go visit his or her tomb? Is there a mummy you can visit? Is your pharaoh part of a large tourist destination in Egypt? Are there any books written about the pharaoh? Any historians famous for researching this pharaoh? So just answer 2 of those. And then at the very end, you need the works cited. I'm looking for MLA format. When I do MLA format, I usually do EasyBib as a website. If you have another website that you like to use instead, feel free to use it. Just make sure it's in the MLA format. And if you have any questions about that, just let me know. You will also see that links on the Schoology page is the rubric. So here's the rubric here. It is pretty much the same thing that I tell you on the slideshow. Just make sure that you have at least one picture on each slide, because slideshows are boring without pictures. If you have any questions, please, please, please let your teacher know. So either I or Mrs. Hinkle, let us know. If you also have like kind of questions or thoughts about what pharaoh you should research, feel free to email us as well. We will be more than happy to kind of steer you into a direction of a pharaoh that has a lot of good resources on them. All right, see ya.